Go get Dan and tell him.
Move on to the next item.
I have this turned up as far as it'll go.
Yep, that's good.
And this doesn't seem to be doing anything.
We've got no sound, can you stop them?
That's your headset?
That's all I've got is that one plug.
Worked another day, why isn't it working?
Wouldn't it come through here?
That's going to a monitor. So
Okay.
that's how we're hearing it over there. This is what goes into the sound system, into the speakers.
Okay.
We've got no, it's very, very low for the hearing. She can hear Dean when she mutes your microphone. She doesn't know.
Emily, can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. That's you.
Dean, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. I think we're good.
We're back.
You're quiet for Emily.
Okay. Then we had a motion to approve the minutes, and we had a second. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve the minutes?
I didn't get any of that.
Dean, we didn't get any of that here.
Okay.
Could you repeat the
So should we go with the public input and public appearance?
Yes.
Roll call vote showed everybody present except for Mr. Timler. So I'll just go back there, and then, so all board members are present except for Mr. Kimmler, who is excused. We have, next item, just public input and public appearance. On items that are not part of the public hearing, we have three public hearings on tonight's agenda. If you're here to speak about or speak to each of those public hearings, I would ask that you wait until they're up on the agenda to do so. But if there's anyone else that is either participating in or wants to call in for public input and public appearance, you're welcome to do so at this time. All I would ask is you state your name and your address for the record. Anyone wishing to come forward for public input or public appearance? Not seeing anyone, so we'll go to the next item then, which is the approval of minutes from the April 13th, 2020 meeting.
Move approval.
Second. Motion made by trustee Baum, seconded by Commissioner Shadid. Any discussion on the motion to approve the minutes from April 13th, 2020? No discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None opposed? Motion carries. That then takes us to our next item, which is new business, item A. Business item A is for Diversified Engineering, Inc., agent for Waste Management of Wisconsin, property owner located at North 96, West 13840, County Line Road, and North 96, West 13600, and North 96 and 13640, both on County Line Road. It's an amendment to a conditional use permit number 04-2019 to operate a truck maintenance facility and site plan review for revised plans for the truck maintenance building and site improvements. That is up tonight for both public hearing and for action from the Plan Commission. In order to give us some more information on this particular new business item A, I'll turn the meeting over to Alexander or Jeff. Jeff Winslow, our Community Development Director. Jeff.
I'll be right. I'm loading the slideshow.
Thank you. While we're waiting on all apologize to everybody that had waited for a half hour for the special village board meeting to end, so I apologize for that. Director Russell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nick Berner with Diversified Engineering, an agent for Waste Management of Wisconsin. The property owner is requesting approval of revised conditional use permit to operate the truck maintenance facility from a 29,760 square foot facility from their 45-acre property located on County Line Road. The site is currently zoned M2 Limited Industrial, and this is a proposal that was reviewed and approved back in March of 2019. At that time, a conditional use permit was issued, a site plan approval was granted, and subsequently a certified survey map to combine parcels was approved in September of last year. The truck maintenance facility that was approved as part of the original site plan is 35,035 square feet, again for a maintenance facility and sales office. It also includes a hub or terminal for the waste recycling vehicle and employee parking for sales office staff. It includes a compressed natural gas refueling system for 100 truck parking stalls. The CSM, as I mentioned, was to combine 4 parcels that were all owned by Waste Management into one 45.8 acre parcel. This graphic shows the site as it currently exists. A couple of renderings of what was approved last year as part of the site plan approval. And you will recall that as part of the proposal, it included 2 driveways to County Line Road, 166 parking stalls with an area for 44 additional stalls, 2 stormwater management basins on site, extensive landscaping proposed along County Line Road, along with lighting both around the building and throughout the driveways and the parking areas. The approved building improvements include a building of 35,035 square feet, 25,000 square feet of which for the maintenance facility, an additional 10,000 for the office area. The approved building included a building height of 37 feet 6 inches with painted metal panels, split face CMU, and a standing seam metal roof. At this time, the Waste Management is proposing revisions to effectively reduce the size of the truck maintenance facility. From 35,000 square feet to 29,760 square feet. Along with that, a reduction in the potential office employees from 30 to 11. They're being redesignated to their existing facility in the business park. They're increasing the truck parking area from 100 to 130 stalls, reducing the vehicle parking from 166 to 159 stalls, realigning the angle of the truck parking stalls and improving circulation to reduce the backup operations. That was a key issue that was addressed a year ago as part of the public hearing process and included as a condition of approval in the conditional use permit. Also, as part of this revision, an increase in the impervious area from 11.8 to 14.2 acres, and an increase in the number of stormwater basins from 2 to 3. There's also a slight increase in the exterior lighting levels along the driveways and the truck parking area. Minor revisions to the compressed natural gas refueling station, racking, and also to the landscaping are proposed. Here's a rendering or a copy of the original approved site plan. Here's a graphic that shows the revised site plan. As you can tell, I'll sort of go back and forth between the two. You can tell the slight increase in the pavement area and the reconfiguration of the truck parking stalls located on the in this area here. Here's the copy of the approved stormwater management plan and the proposed management plan, all of which are included in the Plan Commission packet materials. The approved landscaping, the proposed revisions to the landscaping, some slight modifications along the perimeter of the parking in the building area, but nothing significant that raises any issues with staff. Approved lighting plan and the proposed lighting plan, again, some minor changes in the fixtures that result in increased lighting levels generally on the driveway areas and also through the circulation for the truck parking areas, but all within the limits of the guidelines for exterior lighting in our zoning code. Here are the approved elevations and the proposed revisions. No change in the materials, basically just a step down in size from the 35,000 to 29,000 square foot in the building size. If you have any questions on the details, feel free to raise your hand, ask a question as we get through that. As I mentioned, back in 2019, this project had 3 approvals that were granted: a conditional use permit, a certified survey map, and the site plan. The proposed revisions are only to the site plan. The only reason for the change or amendment to the CUP is needed to match the size shown in the revised site plans, given the detailed language we included in that conditional use permit. There are fewer office staff, but that's not a conditional use permit item. There are no operational changes proposed as part of the revisions. Staff comments, I mentioned the lighting levels and the landscaping plan revisions. There's a need to address some street tree requirements, as was the case with the original approval. State-approved plans with a $20,000 occupancy bond is a requirement. The village forester is recommending some additional changes to the species of trees in the revised landscaping plan. And the village engineer and public works department have some technical corrections they've identified in a March 24th public works memo that will need to be addressed before a building permit is issued. Fire department and issues with regard to the water connections are the same as last year. Staff recommendation is to approve the amended conditional use permit for the 29,760 square foot truck maintenance facility. And also staff is recommending approval of the revised site development and building plans for that facility for waste management for their new facility on County Line Road, subject to 11 conditions that are included in the staff report that we can go through if the Planning Commission feels that's necessary. At this time, we're ready for the public hearing.
Okay. And I would open this public hearing by hereby stating a notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held before the Village of Germantown Plan Commission at the Germantown Village Hall and via WebEx located at North 112 West 17001 Mequon Road in Germantown on the following date of Monday, May 11th at 6:30 p.m. both on County
Really?
Line Road. Is there anyone that wishes to come forward to speak for or against the change in the conditional use permit for the operation of a truck maintenance facility? Anyone wishing to come forward to speak for or against?
Yes, my name is Don Smith with Waste Management. I'm the regional engineer here in this location. I just wanted to say I'm here to answer questions if you have any, but I'd like to address specifically condition 7 on the application or in the notes of the agenda, where it discusses odorant not being present in the compressed natural gas. All right, and our compressed natural gas is the same as you would get at your house, just a bigger amount. So the odorant is in the gas. It does have the same sniffer, if you would, that you would notice as natural gas in your home. Okay? In condition 7 states that it does not have the sniffer. It does. And it is stated properly or correctly on page 7 of 12 of the staff write-up, where it does say that there is odorant in natural gas. I just wanted to be clear on that.
Okay, but the condition number 7 says that it is not, so that would need to be addressed at time of motion.
Okay, because it concern being apparently in the safety of public and our employees. And we all could understand the
Yes. Is that all for your portion of the public hearing, sir? Is there anyone else that would like to come forward to speak for or against the amendment to the conditional use permit to operate a truck maintenance facility from the properties described? Anyone wishing to come forward to speak for or against?
Dean, we do have a letter that we received by email.
Can't hear you, Jeff. Anyone wishing to speak for or against the amendment?
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I wanted to point out we received an email with a letter attached from Richard and Sue Ruck, who live in the Autumn Ridge condominiums. I'd like to read that as part of the public hearing. From Richard and Sue Ruck, N96 West 14193 Knollcrest Circle, Autumn Ridge condominiums. We moved into our condo in 2002. For years, we've had increasing problems, concerns with the amount of noise created by the waste management operations in the area. Some of these are electrical generating units noise. Even at the distance we're at, since the expansion of the facility years ago, there's a constant annoying whine when they're operating. Number 2, truck traffic noise. The increase in traffic on County Line Road, County Highway Q, has increased significantly. That caused the road to be widened west of Fond du Lac Avenue. That brings much higher amounts of truck noise at all times of the day and night, including engine braking, brake squealing, etc. Some of this is caused by Waste Management's recycle operations and also FedEx's distribution center. And number 3, County Line Road, east of Fond du Lac Avenue. This has been deteriorating for years. It's gotten much worse since the widening of County Highway Q and the increased development in the area. When we were first notified about Waste Management's intent for this property, we were under the impression that it would be used only as a maintenance facility. It now seems that the focus may have changed. We had reservations about having anything else in that area that would add to the noise. We realized that the facility is going to be placed back off of County Line Road about 500 feet. Originally, with only a maintenance facility and office, there would have been a need for only a small parking lot for trucks and cars. Our additional concerns on the redevelopment of the property are, number 1, maintenance-only parking lot size. If used only for maintenance for 14 truck bays at a time, plus associated personnel, the parking lot would be small. Number 2, proposed large-scale truck parking staging area plus drivers. The parking lot now needs to be much larger to handle the parking of not only trucks to be worked on, but also for overnight storage for and refueling of 130 compressed natural gas vehicles. This lot must have spaces for all of the drivers too. It is proposed to have close to 300 total spaces. Vehicle numbers. With around 300 more vehicles accessing the site, there will be a lot more noise. County Line Road, east of Fond du Lac Avenue. This stretch of road will deteriorate much faster with the increased volume. What plans are in place to replace or rebuild it? And those are the comments again from Richard and Sue Ruck from the Autumn Ridge condominiums.
Thank you for that. Is there anyone else that wishes to come forward to speak for or against the amendment of a conditional use permit for the operation of a truck maintenance facility? Anyone else to speak for or against? One last time. Is there anyone else that would like to speak for or against the amendment to the conditional use permit to operate a truck maintenance facility? All right, then this public hearing is now closed. Board?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the conditional use permit as presented with the 7 conditions.
Motion made, do I have a second? Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion as made?
Yes, I'd like to make an amendment to item 7 to clarify that there is an odorant contained within the gas supply lines. So item number 7 should get rid of the word does not contain.
Okay. That is your motion to amend. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Made and seconded by Mr. Mills.
Can I just have a clarification?
Sure.
Remember that the word does not, or just the word not?
To be stored and dispensed on the property does not contain, you should get rid of the word not.
Okay.
Does contain the same odorant found in gas supply. Yes.
Okay.
Just the word not.
That is okay with the second or understood as such by the second?
Yes.
Okay. Further discussion on the motion to approve?
A question.
Mr. Leshevsky.
If we went from 100 trucks to 130 trucks, that's 30% more trucks. Do we know what the noise impact would be with that much more? I mean, are the trucks all going to be idling at one time? Because obviously it's a significant increase. Is there anything on decibels? I know, Jeff, there is a code, a maximum, but do you know where we stand with regards to the noise?
No, we did not require any sort of noise assessment of the property owner of Waste Management. So we don't know what sound levels are being generated either by the 100 vehicles part of the original approval or the additional ones with the revision. I do believe the part of the reason going to the compressed natural gas, as was explained by Waste Management, was to have vehicles that are quieter than a more typical diesel or otherwise fueled vehicle. Is Mr. Smith with Waste Management might be able to address that?
Yes, over the course of 5 years, these trucks will all be phased into compressed natural gas. We'll be phasing in a fifth every year, if you will. The compressed natural gas trucks are extremely quiet. Not much louder than my Prius, but they're very quiet, particularly compared to a diesel for the most part.
Hey, Don, question for you. When you first came through, you talked about the trucks leaving in waves. You got 100 trucks before, you were leaving in 3 waves of 30 trucks, as I recall. And if we just proportion that up, you're going to be having, what, 40 trucks per wave now instead of 30?
Right, very good memory, very good memory. Yes, they leave in waves. There'll be 3 launches, is what we call it. They can't all leave at once, that would just be complicated. And so what we do is we have a kickoff meeting with them in a main conference room, and then they'll go out, load their trucks, and it's like literally at the airport. Our supervisors have the same flashlights that you see at the airport for a launch. What they do is they'll direct, and it's a quite orderly, regimented program exiting the site. But it occurs basically in 3 different launches, if you would.
Yeah, so we're only talking about 10 more trucks running at one time. So as opposed to 30, we're gonna have 40. You're not gonna have all 130 trucks revving their engines. Gentlemen, start your engines, go. So
No, that is correct. And then in the afternoon, when they return, it's not as regimented. Some will come in perhaps at 2 o'clock, they're done, some at 2:30, some at 3. They all filter back in. In the morning, it's the 3 waves. In the afternoon, when they're done for the day, they're coming home when they are.
And as you stated at the first meeting, the routes that the trucks take today are basically the same routes they'll take when you move to here.
Right. The trucks will come out, and we have two entrance roads or exits, depending on how you look at things. And the trucks will park, and trucks will go east, and trucks will go west on county line here, or Q, excuse me, on Q. And then when they get down there, they'll either go north and south. When they get to the east or to the west, they'll either go north and south on County Line Road, the normal route where we go in the morning to the east, or they'll go west on Q, turn north and continue west on Q, or turn north on 145 or go south on 145. But they'll be headed in different directions. Basically, the similar route they're taking right now, it's just the point of origin is over on County Line Road.
Further discussion? I have a question. There's room for normal day operations. So I'm assuming that the trucks are refueled at night?
Yes, what happened is the trucks will fuel at the end of the day. And like I said, initially there'll be about 1/5 of the fleet will be compressed natural gas trucks. They actually fuel overnight. They're slow fill trucks is what they call it. They hook up to the compressed natural gas hose, and it can fill the fleet of 100 or 125 or 130 all overnight. Those get filled at night with compressed natural gas. The diesel trucks will fill in at the end of the day, fuel at the end of the day, so that in the morning they're ready to go. They'll do the pre-trip inspection of the truck, making sure that he's mechanically sound, and then they'll be fine.
Is there any noise associated with filling of a natural gas vehicle?
Our facility has a compressed natural station, where basically it's all compressed natural gas station fuels the lines. I guess I'd refer to a Marie, he's with True Star. It's our compressed natural gas company. I've never seen the compressed natural gas unit. Maybe if you could address the noise level of that when they fuel at night.
Yes, this is Maria Cortez with True Star Energy. The noise from the compressors I wasn't prepared for that, so I apologize, I don't have that in front of me, but they're basically at 10 dB, which it's a very low level of more of it's 80 within 10 feet. To give you a quick second, I can probably pull up my data sheet, but basically it's going to be a very low noise level at a distance. So these compressors are further back where they're not going to have that much of a sound effect.
And how many will be running at one time?
They run on a lead lag operation, so usually one will start and then another one will start later, so not all compressors will run at the same time.
Okay. Further discussion?
I believe Commissioner Williams had a comment.
Yeah, I just want to confirm, you still, the original plans had indicated you needed a 10,000 gallon storage tank for diesel fuel that was going to be used until you transition over to compressed natural gas, and then you're also going to need a 10,000 gallon tank for the compressed natural gas. Is that correct? Is that still the plan? You still have 2 tanks that you're going to be utilizing?
We'll have a diesel tank, and over, and even when all the big trucks or the garbage trucks are over, some of our like vehicles run on diesel, so that diesel tank exists. On the that's not gas. There is, what kind of storage is there any for the compressed natural gas at the filling station?
Yes, there's a small storage that is used, but it's not necessarily, these are on a time scale basis, so technically, since they fuel during night, it's not necessary as a standard fast fill dispenser unit that you normally see on a regular gas station that you go and pump. With those units, you do have above ground storage that full storage for staff fueling. On these, they're time filled, and so they're basically they're pulling directly from the gas supply. This is the natural gas piping, and so that there is no particular storage above ground waiting for them. It's just they fuel on a time frame.
What about the fast fill? Is there a tank for the fast fill?
The CNG on this site is only fueling time fill, no fast fill.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Just one follow-up on that, on the tank for the diesel fuel. Do you guys have a pollution liability policy, including a site policy, and is that something that you can add the Village of Germantown as an additional insured on your policy?
Yes, we can set that up and have you added as an additional insurance.
I think you added that motion to amend the last time it came through, Mr. Williams.
Yeah, actually, we did that on the Clean Harbor project. We did not do it on this one, so I think it'd be beneficial to do it on this one as well.
Is that your motion then?
Yeah, I'd like to add a motion to add an amendment to require Waste Management to add the Village of Germantown as additional insured on their pollution liability policy as well as their excess pollution liability policy.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to amend? No discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. The motion as amended. Further discussion?
Have we voted on the first amendment yet?
The first amendment was what Mr. Williams proposed?
No, to get rid of the word not.
Oh, did we? I'll defer to Lori.
No, we didn't.
I think you're correct, Mr. Nellis. I think we did not.
Doing that.
No joke there, but I think you are correct.
We have a motion to approve and a motion to amend that we did not vote on.
She's hiding off camera.
I think Mr. Nellis is
Can you hear me?
correct.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear Lori?
Hello?
Yes.
We do have a motion out there to approve and a motion to amend that we did not vote on to take out the word not. We haven't voted on that.
Okay, so we need to vote on that one. I apologize, it's my fault for losing track. Well, let's vote on that motion to amend first. Those that are in favor of removing the word not in number 7. Any further discussion on that motion to amend? If no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Not opposed. So now we're back to the other motion to amend, which is to add Town onto the 2 pollution control liability insurance companies. Any further discussion on that motion to amend? No further discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Not opposed, that motion passes. But now we're back to the motion as amended. Further discussion. Thank you, Mr. Mills. No further discussion? Then all those in favor of approving the conditional use permit amendment for the truck maintenance facility, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? None opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for coming and for participating and answering our questions in regards to this new business item.
Excuse me, Dean. Did the motions include the site development and building plans?
Okay. The second half is?
I will make a motion to approve the development and building plan for 29,760 square foot truck maintenance facility with the 11 conditions.
Second. Motion made and seconded. Discussion. No discussion? Everybody's all right with the site plan as presented?
You still need the second.
If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None opposed? Motion carries. Let's take care of all items under new business item A. That then takes us to new business item B, Tyler Edwards, agent for Menard Inc., property owner located at West 186, North 9754 Appleton Avenue. A conditional use permit for development within a 25-foot wetland setback, an amendment to CUP number 07-2002 to allow the expansion of a store larger than 50,000 square feet, an amendment to CUP number 08-2002 to allow the expansion of a fenced storage area, a rezoning application to remove .914 acres from the Shoreland Wetland Zoning District, and a site plan review for a proposed storage yard expansion, warehouse addition, building additions, and exterior remodeling to the existing Menards home improvement and retail store. That is up tonight for public hearing and for action. To give us some more information on regards to this new business item, I'll turn the meeting over to our associate planner, Emily Zant, or
Jeff is taking this one.
I'm sorry?
Jeff is taking this one.
All right, then I'll turn the meeting over to Community Development Director Jeff Retzloff.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Menards Home Improvement and Retail Store is on a site approximately 35 acres in size. The existing building is just under 159,000 square feet and also includes 2 accessory warehouse buildings on the property. Prior village approvals include a rezoning and certified survey map to combine parcels back in 1999. Conditional use permits, 2 of them were granted back in 2001. One for a retail center greater than 50,000 square feet in area, and the second for a fenced outdoor storage enclosure. Site plan approval for the store was subsequently granted in 2002. There's been one village-approved site plan since then. Back in 2007, the garden center went through some minor remodeling. The existing site is shown on the screen. The proposed expansion, subject to tonight's action, includes expanding the storage yard from 2.6 to 3.85 acres in area. That's the fenced-in enclosure on the north, the east, and the south side of the existing building. That expansion includes removing and replacing a 14-foot-high perimeter wood privacy wall, filling 39,833 square feet, or just over 0.9 acres of wetland in the northwest of the existing building, installing 2 additional underground storm water detention retention systems. The expansion proposal also includes expanding the warehouse area in the storage yard to a total of 51,736 square feet. That involves modifying the 2 existing warehouse structures and building an addition that will connect those 2 into one large L-shaped building on the site. Again, just over 51,000 square feet in area. The expansion also includes relocating the storage yard access gate and canopy from what is the west or northwest side of the building to the east side of the building, installing along with that a 14-foot-high privacy wall or an iron fence, 2 alternatives that we'll discuss in more detail a little bit later this evening. That access gate and canopy includes an additional or third gate for order pickup for customer traffic, and also retaining the old access gate, modifying it to use for emergency access purposes. The expansion also includes reducing and reconfiguring portions of the parking lot, removing some curbing, and 83 stalls near the new access gate and shared driveway that is shared with the Steins Garden Center to the east. Also removing some curbed islands and adding a total of 13 additional stalls near the old access gate and canopy, with an overall net reduction of 70 parking stalls from the site. The revised site plan that I have up on the screen, the features shown in red are the revisions to the existing site plan. And we'll go through those a little quickly here. I'll try and identify those. The relocated access gate is moving from this location over to the north, is actually down here in the lower right off the screen. So we're moving from the west to the east side of the site. We're modifying some islands and reducing parking stalls in this vicinity with the shared driveway with the Steins Garden Center. That canopy and gate access that are being relocated there is near the expanded storage yard that now includes this area here that is parking stalls. That's where the bulk of the parking stalls will be lost from the site. The expanded warehouse structure is down here in the actually the northwest corner of the building. Some modifications to the existing storage yard area, and also we're expanding portions of the retail building itself. Just over 10,000 square feet of additional areas being enclosed to bring the overall size of the retail building up from the current 159,000 square feet to 169,283 square feet. This is the parking area that is essentially being replaced by the expanded storage area on the southeast or the east side of the building. And here you can see the area where the wetland fill is going to occur on the northwest part of the property, just outside of the existing storage yard. That area is to be filled again just over 0.9 acres in area that have approval to be filled by the DNR and the Army Corps of Engineers. The elevations for the existing facility really don't change dramatically. The only elevations that would change would be on the the outside, the north side and the east side of the storage area, the expanded outdoor storage yard. They will be essentially replaced with what's the similar material that's there today, the 14-foot high wood privacy walls. I mentioned that the new relocated access gate and canopy includes two alternatives. As you can see here, I'm drawing on the screen where the canopy and access gate location is. I'll pick a different color here. The wall is in this vicinity with some landscaping. And that's shown here on the screen. The wall choices, according to Tyler Edwards with Menards, is either the 14-foot high privacy wall, the wooden wall, or the iron gate option, iron fence option, I should say, both of which exist in various portions of the site already. I was told that whichever option the Planning Commission would prefer would be the option Menards would go with. If that's incorrect, I would ask Tyler Edwards to jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. Here's a rendering of the new access gate with the third driveway for order pickups. And I'll wrap up with a summary of the staff's comments. As I mentioned, the wetland fill, 0.914 acres, has been approved by the DNR and the Army Corps, subject to a mitigation requirement. Menards was required to purchase credits from the Wisconsin Wetland Conservation Trust at a ratio of 1.45 to 1. Filling 0.91 acres at that ratio yields 1.32 credits that were required to be purchased and have been from the Wetland Conservancy Trust. The village rezoning that's on the docket tonight is required to effectively remove that area, the 0.914 acres, from our shoreline wetland district. Other items include the conditional use permits. We are amending the two existing conditional use permits, number 7-2001, to revise the building size, to go from the current limit in the CUP of 162,570 square feet to 169,300 square feet, and revising existing conditional use permit number 8-2001 to revise the storage yard area from the current 3.8 to 3.85 acres listed in the conditional use permit. The third and final conditional use permit that's required, it's a new one. It's effectively to exempt Menards from having to provide the 25-foot setback from the filled wetland. As I mentioned in the staff report, staff does support this proposal because effectively requiring to provide a 25-foot setback in a non-wetland area would necessitate having to fill more wetland to provide non-wetland area because there is no other non-wetland or upland area around the perimeter of the Menard site. And also because of previous mitigation efforts that Menards went through with the original development to establish a floodplain restoration area on the site north of the property. Staff supports exempting them at this time from providing that 25-foot wetland setback. In the staff report and in the information, the site plans, there is a 100-year floodplain line that's drawn on the site plan incorrectly. The expansion does not impact any 100-year floodplain. It does cross a small area that's actually in the 500-year floodplain, but the village does not regulate that area, and therefore there's no further need to address that as part of this proposal. A couple of standard conditions are being recommended. The occupancy bond, Village Forester is recommending some alternative species to enhance plant diversity on the site. The village engineer and public works have identified some technical corrections and plan revisions that will need to be addressed. Menards has responded to those with additional information and plan revisions, and we are awaiting a village engineer final review of that information. So, the staff recommendation includes 5 items recommending approval of the shoreline wetland rezoning, subject to one condition, that Menards provide us a legal description of that actual wetland fill area. Recommendation number 2, to approve a revision or amendment to conditional use permit 7-2001 to increase the size of the retail building to 169,300 square feet with an additional warehouse area of 51,750 square feet. Recommendation number 3, to approve a revision or amendment to conditional use permit number 8-2001 to increase the size of this outdoor storage yard area to 3.85 acres. Recommendation number 3, to approve a conditional use permit to exempt or allow development within that 25-foot wetland setback area as presented on the plans. And a staff recommendation to approve the site development and building plans for the proposed storage yard expansion, the warehouse building additions, the building addition, and exterior remodeling as shown on the plan, subject to 6 conditions. And those are included in the staff report that we can go over if the Planning Commission feels that's necessary.
Commissioners? Do we have a question before I open the public hearing? In your synopsis, you had listed the conditional use permit 07-2001 and 08-2001. In the public hearing and in the agenda, they're both listed as 07-2002 and 08-2002. So is it one or 2?
We can make that correction.
Okay, or one. Just so I read it, I'll read it properly then as 2001.
We're checking.
Okay. Then I will hereby open this public hearing by hereby stating a notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held before the Village of Germantown Plan Commission at the Germantown Village Hall located on Mequon Road in Germantown, and virtually through the WebEx platform on the following date at the time noted below, which is Monday, May 11th at 6:30 p.m. or later. The purpose of said hearing is to hear any and all parties or attorneys or agents for or against the applications filed by the petitioners for, number 1, an amendment to the conditional use permit number 07-2001 to allow the expansion of a store larger than 50,000 square feet pursuant to section 17.29 subsection 3, subparagraph R of the Municipal Code. And number 2, an amendment to the conditional use permit number 08-2001 to allow the expansion of a fenced yard for the sale and storage of goods and materials related to a permitted use pursuant to section 17.29, subsection 3, subparagraph R of the Municipal Code. Number 3, a conditional use permit to allow development within a 25-foot wetland setback on a portion of the following described property pursuant to section 24.04, subsection 3 of the Municipal Code. And number 4, a rezoning application to rezone and remove approximately 0.914 acres, 39,834 square feet of the following described property from the Shoreline Wetland Zoning District to the B2 Community Business District pursuant to sections 24.04, subsection 2 and 17.29 of the Municipal Code. The applicant is Tyler Edwards, agents for Menards Inc., property owner, and the property is located at West 186 North 9754, Appleton Avenue in Germantown, Wisconsin. Is there anyone wishing to come forward at this time to speak for or against any of the conditional use permits or the rezoning application for this address as listed. Anyone wishing to come forward to speak for or against?
Thank you.
Hi, Tyler Edwards from Menards here. Just wanted to say we're excited to have found a way to expand the store. We're working on expanding all these stores, so each location offers what the brand new locations have. So even though we built the store back in the early 2000s, we now have the exterior storage and warehouse space to match the new stores, along with an interior remodel that you'll notice once this project started. I think Jeff did a great job of summarizing the project as a whole in regard to the fence near the south side of the store and the new gate. Typically, we use the wood fence to screen what I'd consider more of the storage area where there might be materials stored inside the fence, and the wrought iron where the garden center is, where it's more plant material and more aesthetically pleasing from the exterior. However, we're willing to move forward with whatever fence is best in that part of the site. If you do have any questions, I'd certainly be happy to answer them.
Anyone else wishing to come? And we can ask those questions at the time that we bring up the items one by one under new business agenda item B. But thank you for coming forward and speaking at the public hearing. Anyone else wishing to come forward to speak for or against any of the conditional use permits or the rezoning application for the property as described? Anyone else wishing to come forward to speak for or against? Anyone else wishing to come forward to speak for or against the conditional use permits or the rezoning application for this property as listed? If not, we will then close this public hearing and turn it over to the board. It was, I have been informed that the two conditional use permits are for 07-2002 and 08-2002. So both are in 2002.
All right.
Board?
I'll make a motion to approve the request to rezone and remove 39,833 square feet of filled wetlands from the shoreline wetlands zoning district as presented, with the one condition.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded by Mr. Leshevsky. Any discussion on that motion to approve? No discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? If there's none opposed, motion passes. Next motion.
Make a motion to approve the conditional use permit for a 25-foot wetland setback as presented.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to approve? There's no discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Next motion.
Make a motion to approve the conditional use permit amendment to CUP number 7-2001 as presented.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on that motion to approve?
That is 7-2002, correct?
That's correct.
I'm sorry, I'm just reading what's on my screen. So yes, 2002.
Both are 2002.
Okay.
Any discussion on that motion to approve? There's no discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use amendments to CUP number 8-2002 as presented.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to approve? If there's no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? None opposed, motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve the site development and building plans site plans as presented with the 6 conditions.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on that motion to approve?
Yes.
Trustee Ball?
I frequently go to this location, and I have a problem with accessing the rear lot on the east side of the property now. That combined access to Appleton Road is the busiest access point, and there are cars backed up in all directions. And now we're going to compound that with cars waiting and staging to get into the backyard. I don't like that solution. That's my biggest problem to the site plan. Is there something different we can do with where we access the backyard?
If I jump in?
Yes.
So the new gate with 3 lanes should expedite entering the yard area. So we have 1 entrance lane for folks with their order pickups, typically online order pickups. You scan your barcode, you get in right away, you don't wait for anybody. The middle entrance lane is more for commercial trucks, the over-the-road deliveries or contractors picking up a load. But there should be very little check-in time, with the new process. And then the exit is where you really get checked when you leave by the gate guard. And there's a good amount of stacking provided within the yard.
Gotta leave it on.
To allow that, without hindering any sort of traffic. So we kind of anticipate with existing, we call it 3 entrances. There's the southern Appleton Ave one that we shared with the neighbor, and then the existing entrance in front of the north side of the parking lot, and then we kind of go around the garden center up to the corner there. Should help distribute traffic probably better than today. At least that's the hope.
It's not going to. I'm here frequently. Rarely is your main entrance, the southern entrance, used. Most people are using the floral entrance, which is
shared.
Yeah, the shared entrance, and then we go out to Maple Avenue to get to the stoplight. Those are your 2 primary entrances. This center one is actually not used hardly at all. I see every time I'm there, that eastern entrance is a logjam. And people are cutting everybody off, trying to get in, driving around traffic. That access, the left turn lane will queue up, and you'll have a Y that some people are coming from your site and some people are coming from Stein's. And that's just a cluster that really needs to be resolved. And I think we need to resolve it with this operation. Yeah, you'll have people lined up. You've got queuing for 3 cars, but on a good Saturday afternoon, you've got 10, 12 cars stacked up there, and they're forming a Y. So,
Once you take a turn left and go towards county line.
correct. Yeah, I see that as a problem, and you're just adding to it with this entrance there, and I just see that to be a growing problem going forward.
So, further discussion? I kind of agree with Trustee Baum, because I also do frequent that area, both for both retail outlets that are there. And it can be a congestion point, and it also is sometimes a game of chicken in regards to who's coming out and who's going in first. I also agree that that middle is used as often or as much as it should be, so the least amount of people are coming in off of Maple Road, and your heaviest entry point is coming off of that far southern entrance. Now, what kind of distance are we talking about from that gate? Is it coming all the way up to, is it similar to what you already have on the north side in regards to depth and scope? And you're not moving all the products that are over on the north side now over to the south side, are you? Is there still going to be some driving across the back of the building to get to products that might still be over there? Mr. Edwards?
Yes, the products will be in their approximate same locations. The expansion of the red near the garden center, it is twofold. One, to get us the full range of live goods storage, and also to move the heavier truck and vehicle traffic away from the garden center portion of the site. That tends to be the more pedestrian area. People out with their carts walking around, whereas in the back of the warehouse, it's more vehicle related and loading products. So this does help increase safety a little bit by moving the gate away from the garden center. But as far as size and stacking, the gate's about the same, it just has the extra lane.
Discussion.
Has Menards considered converting that to a one-way entrance only?
On that side?
The driveway shared with Steins?
No, I think that would create more confusion than it would solve. Two gates would require 2 gate guards, and the average person would have to know which gate they're supposed to use, which probably wouldn't go very well, because they have enough trouble finding the right door they're supposed to pick their stuff up at.
So there will be no gate whatsoever on the north side then? Everything will come through and to that south side?
Correct, there'll be the emergency access only on the north side. Otherwise, all the vehicle traffic will circle back around to the south side where the gate's shown on the plan.
How do trucks get in and out of here? They go, where do they turn around at in your backyard?
They'll turn around right in front of the loading dock there. This extra space will give them room to fully turn around and back into their spot. But before that, I think previously they kind of nosed around the corner of the building and backed in from there. That won't be needed anymore.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
I would put on the table that I would prefer the wooden fence as opposed to the metal fence.
I would second that, if it's a motion.
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
That the fencing choice is the 11-foot or whatever wood planking?
Wooden plank. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on that motion to amend? No discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? None opposed? Motion carries. Back to the motion as amended, and additional discussion on that entrance.
Yeah, how do you want to proceed? Do you want to direct Menards to do some sort of traffic study? I mean, anecdotally, it sounds like multiple people know there's an existing issue there.
That there's a good solution without redesigning the entrance to the parking lot. Because we're talking about getting away from that east entrance. I don't see as a practical solution there. We haven't come up with anything. I don't know what they can do. Not a major change.
Yeah, is it a matter of pushing the new entrance back farther? deeper into the backyard?
That's that's going on the Menards property?
Yeah, just push it to the north farther.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah?
For those that frequently visit the store on the busier weekend days, has the entrance to the gates historically backed up into the front driveway? And I only ask that because our yard traffic is significantly less than the general traffic to the parking lots. To the point where we really get for the online ordering with the COVID process, we probably only get a few cars an hour using the gate, and we only get 6 or 7 semi-trucks throughout the whole day. So I guess my point is there won't be a significant increase of people coming off the street, driving into the gate, backing up this entrance any more than the existing traffic probably does today. And I don't know if I don't have yard gate counts at the store in front of me.
I guess thinking back over my history, I had encountered a couple of times where the traffic is backed up going out.
Right.
The other thing, the inbound traffic has been backed up to your cross aisle. The other aspect is your tie-up station, I believe, is out in the parking lot. So there's something out there, because I remember pulling out to the parking stall to tie my load down, because that's where you have the string. Yeah, where Jeff showed it in yellow.
And the north side.
So now I got that congestion there too, and there were cars kind of all cattywampus over there trying to get string and tie up. And if you're going to have that over on the east end, you got a whole bunch of crap happening in one spot that is already congested and a problem. And
It is easy enough to move the tie down inside of the yard. Some stores have it inside, some stores have it outside.
yeah,
I don't know why it's outside of this particular store, but there's plenty of room within the yard, the expansion area, to create a dedicated space to make that happen without further congesting the parking lot.
this weekend I was cut off by somebody coming outbound because they had so much crap sticking out their passenger window, they couldn't see me, and they just pulled right out in front of me. And it's those kind of things that I see as problematic with where this entrance is now. It's just, there's too much going on down there.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the right solution is, but
If you want to move all that stuff there, they're trying to get away from traffic by the garden center, and even in spring and summer, I still see more people coming out of that outdoor than I do through that garden center door. To me, that's a low traffic area, that northern end. It's usually cars parked down there and just less traffic.
I didn't mean garden center out in the parking lot. I meant the garden center inside where we have plant storage.
Yes, sir.
And moms or kids are inside the yard with their carts, and we have semi-trucks rolling through a few feet away from them.
Okay.
I acknowledge the parking out in the yard, or the parking lot is probably less on that side of the parking lot than near the front door. It's just.
I misunderstood then. So no truck traffic will be going through that area, that you usually have plants and stone, bags of bark, that kind of stuff.
Correct, and we're trying to do that at all stores to increase safety.
There's a plus side there, David. For one, there's one plus side.
I'm watching Jeff draw here.
Is there a way to modify this island as it enters into the parking lot for Menards to separate the traffic better? So you create, like in this vicinity, you're creating more queuing area for exiting vehicles and separating them from the inbound traffic this way. It would take some further manipulation, but maybe there's a way to create and avoid the problems that currently exist by creating more throat length or depth for this entryway into the parking lot.
I do think there's an opportunity to maybe connect a couple of those islands. So there's not so many entrances converging on one. It may have an impact on the overall parking number, but we still have plenty of extra stalls to make that happen.
Further discussion?
I suppose some analysis on that area about laying that out. I just think about driving out and trying to follow lines on the pavement or how you would channel people.
You'd have to get them up that second last row.
They're going to take the path of least resistance no matter what you paint on the ground, unless you actually put dividers there.
Yeah, people drive across the parking bay all the time.
Exactly.
When you start and take a straight shot, handicaps. What's that?
I said I meant connect the curves.
Okay, well then, that's the only way you get them to move in a different direction, I would think.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm okay with everything else about this development except for this entrance. I see it as a problem, and it's been a problem for years, and this is only gonna add to the problem.
So how do we go forward? Any further discussion, or I put it up for vote? Any recommendations, any further amendments? Nothing? Further discussion?
Without seeing the Steins portion and the whole thing of this entrance drive, it's hard to come up with a solution right here.
So our solution is no solution at this time?
I would like them to analyze it and come back with a solution to the problem.
And are you looking to postpone this last site plan approval or table it until that happens?
I'd like to table it until it happens.
So that is your motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to table this until the Steins shared entry is resolved to a satisfactory condition.
To allow better traffic flow?
Yes.
And you're tabling and not postponing?
Give me the definition of the two again.
Tabling is no discussion, postponing allows discussion.
I'll postpone.
Okay? The motion then to amend is to postpone the site plan approval until Menards comes back with another alternative for traffic pattern in this area. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a second? I didn't hear a second if someone said it.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to postpone? No discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed?
No.
Was there one opposed?
There is one opposed. No.
Thank you. All right, then motion passes.
Peter.
Any questions? Questions from the representative from Menards? Mr. Evans?
Yeah, where do we go from here? Another site plan design, staff, or?
Like I said, I don't think anyone has a problem with the site plan overall except for that one spot. So the way you're showing your building, the way you're showing, your build out and all the views that we saw of it, the only issue is to find a better traffic pattern for that corner. Or at least show an alternative.
Okay. When's the next meeting?
Jeff?
Next Plan Commission, it would be June 8th, I believe.
You could have a special meeting on the 4th if you wanted to. Correct.
We haven't determined whether there's availability for a special meeting date at this point.
Okay.
We'll need some time to get together with the applicant, and I don't know if we have a traffic person in-house. We don't yet have a new village engineer. We may have to reach out to our consulting engineer, and I don't know what their availability is at this point, but
Looking for them to come up with the idea, or you're looking for Menards to?
yeah, I think at this point we would, we'd work cooperatively with Menards and have them bring back maybe a couple of alternatives on how to reconfigure the curbed islands in a way to address the traffic issue that's been discussed this evening.
My message to Menards Inc. would be, we appreciate the investment in this store. We appreciate the growth and opportunity to add more floor space for more products for its customers. We have one small issue with the traffic pattern and nothing else, just this one little area. So we appreciate all that coming forward and spending that amount in Germantown to expand this business. And if we can work out this one little issue, I think we've got ourselves a great plan going forward.
Okay. Are we able to agree at this time to reduce those 4 connections down to 1 and move forward? We would have the one that's shown at the top of the plan, and then the main drive aisle, and then those 3 islands that kind of get reduced in space are connected to limit the access?
I think we need some professional input from some traffic engineer to discuss with us, not just only realigning or reconfiguring the curb islands, but how that's going to impact truck turning movements. I assume truck traffic will be coming in and out of here as well.
Well, I don't think those islands on the parking lot side, where the trucks are going to go, they're still going to use the main turn to the shared intersection with Steins.
Right, but depending upon what sort of reconfiguration we do with those islands, we need to take into account truck traffic and turning movements in and out of the site as well. I don't think we can lock in on a design this evening. I don't think we can.
From what I heard, so that's why I have questions on that.
Did we vote on that motion to amend or to postpone?
Yes.
No. Okay. Any further discussion?
I believe we did vote.
We did, because Mr. Nilles voted against.
Correct.
That's correct. Okay. Okay, then that should take care of all items under new business item B, correct, Jeff?
Yes.
All right, then, Mr. Evans, thank you for your input. And again, our message is, my message is I appreciate the investment. Just give us a couple options that we can work with, and I think we can have this approved quickly for you.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Next item under new business is item C, Scott Morgan, agent for All Terrain Adventure Company LLC, property owner located at North 112, West 14972, Mequon Road, conditional use permit for construction services contractor shop for public hearing and action. Excuse me. For this particular item, will I turn the meeting over then to our associate planner, Emily Zant?
Yes, that's correct. Okay. So this application is for a conditional use permit for a construction services contractor shop on a 1.14 acre property located on Mequon Road. Bear with me just a second, sorry. There we go. Okay, this is the site location. The zoning of the property is B3 general business. It's surrounded by commercial to the east and the south. There is residential district to the west of the subject property. This property is both a residence and a commercial space. The B3 General Business District does allow for a residence as a principal use or as an accessory use to a commercial. The applicant does plan to live in the dwelling and is proposing to run the offices of all-terrain construction from the commercial area of the property. All-terrain construction provides concrete flatwork services for residential and commercial properties, including driveways, sidewalks, patios, steps, garages, and more. Hours of operation for the commercial business would be 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday during their busy season, which is March through mid-November. Winter months would include office hours only, and there would be no set hours during that time. All-terrain construction currently has a total of 6 employees. All work is performed off-site. The business equipment includes 4 pickup trucks, 4 trailers, 2 skid steer loaders, would be stored in the rear of the property in a proposed concrete area. You can see this on the left-hand side of your screen. It's highlighted in pink. A proposed driveway goes on the east side of the existing building, and paved area in the rear would be where the vehicles would be stored. The applicant is also proposing the construction of an accessory building in the future to store the storage, again, in that on that large paved area in the rear of the property. So from a planning perspective, one of staff's biggest concerns is that outdoor storage may become an issue on this property. So we are recommending some improvement, condition with improvement timeline, so to keep things moving along to get the improvements to allow for the storage in the rear of the property. So staff does recommend a condition that this site plan approval, that there's a site plan approved by the Planning Commission no later than 3 months after the date of the conditional use permit approval. And then the paving should be completed no later than 6 months from the site plan approval. And the accessory structure be completed no later than 1 year following site.
It's like I have.
So the existing paved driveway and parking area in front of the property does not meet village code, current code with regard to the maximum width of a commercial driveway, which is 40 feet at the right-of-way line. And then it also doesn't meet the 50-foot required setback from the residential zoning district. So if I go back to this property, or to this photo here, you can see that the width of the driveway at the property line, which is, let's see.
This is what it was before.
Which is about here-ish, is about 80 feet. So it doesn't meet the 40-foot minimum, or maximum, I'm sorry. Staff does recommend that the applicant coordinate with Village Public Works or Wisconsin Department of Transportation to meet current code requirements. The landscape buffer around the parking area adjacent to Mequon Road shall also be required. These improvements should be included in the site plan application, subject to review and approval by the Planning Commission and shall be completed within 2 years of the site plan approval, which is consistent with the site plan approval requirements in our code. Staff also recommends that company vehicles may only be parked in the front area of the property for a maximum of 6 months from site plan approval. That would be until the installation of the rear paved area is finished. And then while the want to let the applicant know that any new signage would require review and approval by the planning commission. Public Works did indicate in a memo dated March 25th of this year that a site plan would be required to be approved by the Plan Commission, and any other information requested by Public Works would be required. So staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit for Scott Morgan and All Terrain Construction to allow the operation of construction services contractor shop at the property located at N112W14792 Mequon Road, subject to 9 conditions. And those, again, include the previously discussed timeline, a site plan application to be reviewed and approved by the Plan Commission within 3 months of conditional use permit approval, construction of the paved driveway and parking area in the rear of the property within 6 months of site plan approval, construction of the accessory building within 1 year of the site plan approval, and then modifications to bring the front driveway and parking area into compliance with the code within 2 years. There's also a condition related to storage and parking of vehicles, which would not be is prohibited in the front area of the property unless indicated during the times of construction. So with that, I believe Scott is on the call. If Scott has any comments or questions to add, now would be a good time for that.
Anything to add? If not, I'll open a public hearing. Okay, then I'll open this public hearing by hereby stating a notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held before the Village of Germantown Plan Commission at the Germantown Village Hall located on Mequon Road in Germantown and virtually through the WebEx on the following date of Monday, May 11th at 6:30 p.m. or later. The purpose of said hearing is to hear any and all parties, their attorneys or agents for or against the application filed by the following applicant for a conditional use permit for a construction services contractor shop to be operated from the property described below pursuant to section 17.30 subsection 3 subparagraph J of the Village Zoning Code. The applicant is All Terrain Adventure Company LLC property owner, and the property address is North 112 West 14972 Mequon Road. Before I ask for anyone to come forward to speak for or against, I have been asked to read a letter into the record, and the letter was received by Frederick Garak, located at North 128 West 19157 Holy Hill Road, and it is addressed to the Village of Germantown Community Development Department, Jeff Retzloff, located on Mequon Road in Germantown. It's via the personal delivery, was made by personal delivery, and it's regarding the public hearing for All Terrain Construction, Inc. Mr. Jeffrey Retzloff, as one of the owners of the 10-plus acres directly across the street from the property which is subject to this public hearing, I have a few questions and or comments. First of all, please understand that I have no objection to the proposed use. I do question the capability of the property being able to support the magnitude of the business in question. to locate 4 pickup-sized trucks, 4 trailers, 2 skid steer loaders, and tools on site in the backyard, plus other unspecified materials needed to operate this type of business all in the open, could very well be detrimental to the tenants in the apartment project located immediately to the west, as well as to the House of Homemade Sausage business to the east. If a conditional use permit is granted, my suggestion would be that the future building, as specified in the notice of public hearing, be constructed prior to occupancy. Furthermore, a restriction should be included that would prevent the overflow of the operation into the front yard. I thank you for listening to my concerns. I would like this letter read into the minutes of the public hearing. Sincerely, Frederick Guerra. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward at this time to speak for or against the conditional use permit for the use of a construction service contractor shop? Anyone wishing to come forward to speak for or against? Excuse me. One more time, anyone wishing to come forward to speak for or against the conditional use permit for the permit of a construction services contractor shop? Anyone wishing to come forward to speak for or against? And this public hearing is now closed. Commissioners?
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use permit as presented with the 9 conditions.
Made, do I have a second?
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on that motion to approve?
Yes. Emily, what is all the construction that's going on there right now?
Sure.
This weekend, the whole front yard is torn up. There's skid steers all over the place.
Right. Maybe the applicant can address this, but it's my understanding that they received permit to work on the foundation of the house. And so they are permitted to be doing that. And so, Scott, do you have anything to add on that?
You're correct that we have a permit to repair the foundation and an erosion control permit to allow us to access the backyard from the work.
Okay. Scott, when do you plan on bringing in the actual plans for all this? What's actually going to build out there?
I will start working on that tomorrow if you guys approve this tonight. And I will present that within the next 30 days. But I'm planning to have that ready for our review board meeting.
Okay, I don't have any problems with the use. You're running a business there, it's all the other questions that just aren't in front of us to review and answer and discuss, which makes it a little challenging for me to give any direction of this to go forward on. And I do recognize the one letter. Yeah, there's some problems if I've been to yards before, and if that backyard gets cluttered and all full of junk, and it's going to be detrimental to the adjacent people. So I'd like to see that plan of action put together. So the sooner we can get that done, the better.
Okay.
Further discussion? No further discussion? Sir, where are you located currently?
On Milwaukee River Parkway in Milwaukee,
Okay.
near Bay Shore.
Okay, and then with what you have stored in back, are you looking to store any materials of any kind? I mean, do you have plans for material storage of like gravel or rock or sand or anything like that?
No, we wouldn't store anything on site.
So basically, it's just equipment?
Yes.
And
Our plan would be to build a building larger than we need to store the equipment that we have.
And the house would be used as office then, or it would be more converted into an office for this particular business?
The building consists of a living unit and also what would be our office. Two separate units. The one that you can see in the picture would be what would be the office. And to the left, to the rear and left of that on the picture is the resident.
Is this the place, the time to put those conditions of outdoor storage to this project?
Yes.
Or is that-
I think staff did try to address that, in condition, let's see, condition 4, just saying that no, construction vehicles, equipment, or materials may be stored in the front yard. We did not go as far as to say that all materials would need to be, enclosed. But we did say, let's see, hold on, I'm sorry. Enclosed and screened from view.
The back half of that lot from that current view you're showing looks pretty wooded. Is there plans to remove any of that for part of your storage of vehicles and or equipment?
Yes, we would have to remove the majority of those trees to be able to put our building.
But not to currently store the vehicles in the first year?
No, there's enough room back there for the parking area without removing any of the larger trees. Some of those trees aren't there anymore that you see. And I would like to present in our plan the idea that we would build our building before next winter set in. So that would be my plan. And the other conflict I see is the requirement to finish the driveway 6 months after the approval. Because of the temperature in the winter, it may stop me from being able to, put the concrete in. And I might need to have 9 months, to a year to put in the driveway that goes from the rear out to the asphalt area. Now there is pavement in front of the building right now, and that would remain until we remodel the front as Emily laid out in the requirements to bring it up to the whole front of the property is going to have to be completely redone.
I've got a question. How big is this future building expected to be?
60 deep, 80 feet wide, and we'd also like to put an additional, 20 by, probably 30 by 30, that dog leg into that back corner that angles off, so that we have, more than what we would need to keep everything, because there is the apartment building next door, although their garage is positioned in a way that the majority of our yard is blocked by their garage, and I would be willing to pay for privacy shrubs if the apartment building owner would give me permission, because I would have to plant those on his berm, on his property, but it would create a privacy screen, and I would like to do that if I was allowed to.
And you want to go onto the property because your storage is going to go right up to the property line?
They have a earth berm on their property, if the trees were planted on their berm, it would create much more separation and privacy. I have on my property on the very edge are very tall pine trees that I hope I don't have to take all of them down. I would like to keep some trees back there, but the majority of those larger trees they're going to be in the way or eventually need to be taken out because they would fall on the building. So we would have to clear out the majority of the back of the lot. And that would be the spot where what we have going on would be most exposed to the apartment building, because if you look, they have two garages there. One parallel to my property line serves very well to block off the area adjacent to it. To the north of that building, that's open. So that area, if I'm able to communicate with the owner of the building, I would, at my cost, if he allowed it, install a berm and plant the trees on the berm, if that would be appropriate. Not sure if that's appropriate.
Further discussion? No further discussion? Go ahead, Tom.
So far, I'm okay with the use. I'm struggling with what it's all going to look like. So I will eagerly await plans to come forward on this. And because they're coming in separate, there may be more scrutiny to those plans than if they were all here now.
Emily, would you be able to pull up the survey that shows the proposed parking area, and then maybe I could just give a little clarity. Okay, so there's two surveys showing, and the one on the left, that is showing what would be very close to the size of the parking area back there. Now, it doesn't show the survey behind there, and if we could see that part of it, it would show that back angled off corner. We've sized a building to fit at the edge of that parking area, and it would be beyond, it would be well within the setbacks, and then that building would be sized at 60 feet deep, 80 feet wide. The lot is 110 feet wide. That would leave us 15 feet on each side of the building. And then we'd also like to put a dog leg in that back corner where the property has that angle. That would allow us extra room to store our stuff, and we would be able to drive around the building, you know, as far as accessing, getting back there and being able to conveniently turn around and come back out. So I believe that there is enough room. And I would also add that we don't have, you know, full-size dump truck, any large equipment. You know, the trucks that we use are the equivalent of a pickup-sized truck.
Further discussion?
Mr. President, this is Jeff Retzloff.
Can I see the shot of the front from the street? The street view? Yeah. So what's the plan up front here? Because there's a lot of room there that's just nothing. I mean, what's future plan for all that?
Okay, well, the area on the left, as Emily pointed out, because it's adjacent to residential, we would have to remove a large section of that asphalt. And you can just see the edge of the opening in the curb. So we have two entrances. We're going to be required to eliminate one of them and change the other entrance to a 40-foot width maximum. I believe it's smaller than that right now. Elevations are going to have to be changed. We have a catch basin on the right side of this asphalt. You can barely make it out. And the way things are right now, water runs, from the catch basin towards the building and onto the sausage house's property, right? And we need to eliminate that because they have standing water in their yard. And I have to assure them that we're not going to discharge our water. So in order to do that, we're going to pretty much have to repave everything you see in the front of the building, including putting in new city sidewalk all the way across our lot, landscape buffer where you see that mailbox or paper box there's going to be a landscape buffer in there, where the approach is on the right side. We would most likely need to modify the curb, create the proper size opening in the proper location. New concrete approach between the curb and the new city sidewalk, which I'll install hopefully after they're able to extend that water main, because that's another thing. On the left side of the property, the water main seemingly ends, and I would like to have municipal water. And to have municipal water, the code calls for me to install a water main to the other side of my property, which I would think had to be done if you were going to install the sidewalk, right? So that it wouldn't have to be done at a later date and tear that sidewalk out. So the whole front of the property would look completely different than it does right now. We'd eliminate that sign. We would apply for a sign permit in time, and we would like to put a sign in there. So the requirements that they have for the approval very similar to what the plans that I had in my mind were for the property.
Okay. So it's a construction services contractor shop in kind of the middle of a commercial area. Why here? Why does it make sense? I mean, why do you like this site? What makes it desirable for you in kind of this area besides kind of further away from where you, I mean, I don't know where you live, but I'm sure from where you describe, from Bay Shore to here, pretty significant mileage difference. So again, what makes this site so desirable for you? Because I see it as commercial. I'd like to see commercial there. There's commercial around it. It's not far from a commercial area. There could be commercial across the street.
I'm not quite following you. When you say commercial, you mean without the residents?
Yeah, like someone would come in and put something there. I don't care if it's a restaurant or a services or professional services or dentist office, medical clinic that's kind of down the street. Just construction services here seems to me a little bit out of place because it's more in the downtown area, and I always think of that on the outskirts, kind of on the edge.
Well, closer to Pilgrim Road, on the opposite side of Mequon Road, I believe, is a construction company office. Can't think of the name of them.
Chris Green.
And Chris Green, yeah, there you go. I just read that today. As far as property, and the reason that we want to move there is that it's more centrally located to the work that we do. We've done more work in West Penn recently than we've done in the past, and to be honest with you, it's more attractive to me to work, north of the city, and we've kind of extended ourselves up into that area, and honestly, that's been my intention from the very beginning of founding my company. We'll get it out of Milwaukee and, be in a better living situation, honestly.
So your intention to live there?
Yes.
Okay. What is your response to Mr. Garrott's request? His request that you put the building up before you get occupancy?
Well, he was kind enough to stop over and meet me. And as I explained to him, the one hardship for me to be able to put the building up is that because our work is seasonal and we only have these months to earn our revenue, right? My plan was to construct the building in late fall after we're not able to pour concrete anymore because of the temperature. We would intend to have the foundation installed, and after we're done doing the work that generates our revenue, we would build the building.
Okay. All right, further discussion? Any further discussion?
No.
Okay. Then all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any opposed?
No.
No opposed or one person is opposed?
One person opposed. No.
Yes. All right.
No.
Opposed. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Morgan, for our questions and giving us information in regards to your plan.
And thank you.
Next item under new business is item D. D. Lynn Luckow, Redline K-9 Training Center and Behavioral Consultation LLC, agent for Ozaki Development Corporation, property owner located at West 188 North 11786 Maple Road, Suites 1, 2, 3, and 4. Amendment to conditional use permit number 01-2019 for the operation of a dog training operation. Public hearing and action. To give us some more information and background on this, turn the meeting back over to our associate planner, Emily Zan. Emily.
Thank you. Lynn Lookout, the agent for Redline K-9 Training Center and Behavioral Consultation, is seeking an amendment to a conditional use permit that was issued last year for the dog training education facility in a building located within the Germantown Industrial Park on Maple Road. The site is located within the industrial park. It is zoned M1 Limited Industrial. It is completely surrounded by M1 Limited Industrial District. The proposal to amend the conditional use permit includes three major items. The proposal to expand the use into Suite 1 of the multi-tenant building, which currently occupies Suites 2 through 4, which are highlighted on your screen with the dotted black lines. And then Suite 1, they would expand into the area of Suite 1, which is highlighted in yellow. The additional space would allow for more office area and for competitors to be able to crate their dogs during competitions. No structural changes are proposed with this additional space. Redline provides a variety of dog training, exercise, and educational services to dog owners and the general public at the facility and throughout the community. With this amendment to the conditional use permit, the applicant is requesting to add canine massage to their list of services provided. The third item would be the applicant is proposing to extend the hours of operation, which are currently 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. And the proposed hours would be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the purpose for this would be accommodating customers wishing to use the turf area later at night to do dog training type activities. So staff does recommend approval of the conditional use permit amendment for the operation of a dog training and education facility in the existing building located at W188 and 11786 Maple Road to include space in Suite 1, expand hours of operation to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and to add canine massage to the list of available services, subject to all of the conditions listed in conditional use permit number 0119, and the addition of the following condition, which highlights the details provided by the applicant in the application for amendment dated February 3rd, 2020. Another item I would like to bring forward is that we learned this evening that the applicant had previously been working with the former fire inspector to increase the occupancy limit on the building. We believe that this is addressed in conditions 4 and 5 of the existing conditional use permit. And if John has anything, Fire Chief Delane has anything to add, we believe that the occupancy, through these conditions, the occupancy can be modified per requirements of the fire department. So, Lynn or John, did you have anything to add to that?
Yes. Earlier today, or this evening, I spoke with Lynn, the owner of the business, informing me of the process that she had been working through with our now retired fire inspector, Steve Smith, and I had not been aware of what exactly he was working on. And in fact, last week I was working with Associate Planner Emily on some questions, and we kind of did not hit on the topics that the owner of the business wanted to. The owner of the business actually wanted to change the usage of the building to a Class B kennel that would have allowed her in a new space of an occupancy up to 132 persons based on 100 square foot per person ratio. And we still feel that with the conditions that are being put into place at this time, that would still be allowed. However, the documentation that you're seeing does not reflect that, mostly because we did not know that the former fire inspector was working on this plan with her.
Okay.
Lynn, did you have anything to add to that?
Oh, I'm not muted anymore. So yeah, basically, when I did the first conditional use permit, I, kind of looked back on that, and I decided that I would reach out to the fire inspector because he seemed to have the most input and the most conditions on my permit. So I wanted to get his, his feel for what he thought about me adding the space, and did he have any additional concerns. Because when he first came for the conditional use permit 2, 3, and 4, we talked, at that time I knew one would come available, space number 1 would come available within a year. And so we were talking about all the doors that were on the back of the building, and we talked about the assembly, designation, and all these kinds of things, and how would I be able to increase the amount of people I could have inside for periodic trials. Or this last fall, the Wisconsin Humane Society rents our building. I kind of donate part of it to. They had 90 people with a sit-down dinner inside, actually on the turf, believe it or not, but and they had a speaker and such for the weekend. So there are times that I could or do exceed the 49, but that was I think twice last year. But now that I'm becoming more established, I've had more clubs. Well, I don't know now with the COVID thing what's going to ever be for people in large groups. You know, so, you know, a lot of this stuff was obviously pre-COVID discussion, but, so the fire inspector came over to Redline and we walked through the building and I got the keys for one so he could see what was all gonna go on. And he had some things he wanted me to do. He wanted me to stop using one door as an exit, take the sign off, the lighted sign. So when you look at the back of the building, there's 2 exits that are lit. And then when you look at the front, he wanted that exit sign put above the, like I call it, the kitchen door, so that there were 2 exits going this way, 2 exits going that way. And then he wanted safety railings put up outside past the human doors, because it's like a human door, a dock, a human door, a dock, and that if anybody went out the back door, that they wouldn't fall into the dock. So then he came back after about a week and a half and said that he had done some investigating, and rather than go to assembly status or whatever, he suggested the B kennel, because it would give me the 96 people on one side and I think 32 on the other side, based on the square footage of 100 square foot per person. Because if I went to assembly, then I would have to crash bar all the doors, and there's a whole lot more expense that goes into going to the assembly level. So that was his suggestion, or what he was going to be proposing. And so I did take pictures, but I just kind of thought at some point, because he kind of said, you know, if you have this all done before I come, you know, I get the paperwork to actually formally come and inspect, he said it would make him very happy. But then nobody ever came and inspected to see if we moved the exit signs or put the safety barriers up. And then when I just looked at the agenda, I was like, oh, it's just still saying 49 people. And
Sure.
so then I talked to you, Emily. I'm like, oh my God. And then I talked to the fire department again and found out that Mr. Steve had retired, and perhaps the information did not get forwarded, so that's why, you know. So those things should have been conditions in here, because they were conditions that.
Sure. I think our, Fire Chief Delane, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think after we heard about this evening, we believe that conditions 4 and 5 don't limit you to a capacity of 45 people. It simply, they simply require you to work with the fire department if you would like to reclassify the occupancy.
And I definitely concur with that. And the change to an assembly occupancy would not be appropriate in this situation, but the change to a Class B kennel would absolutely be appropriate, and the fire department would have no problem with going that direction.
So as long as, Lynn, you continue to work with the fire department, now that we know that communication was happening, if you continue to work with the fire department, we don't see anything in the existing conditions that would limit you from changing or reclassifying the occupant. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, and with that,
what does that exactly mean? So that means that we're going to reclassify it then?
That means you've already pretty much done the conditions that would allow us to reclassify it, and it would just be a formal reclassification that would happen on that level.
Okay. All right.
So will we need to revise condition number 5 to allow for the change in classification to the Class B kennel?
That's correct.
okay, so staff would recommend approval with the additional condition listed here, as well as the amendment to condition number 5, to change the reclassification of occupancy from business to kennel. And work with the fire department to install any necessary equipment.
And just for the commission's awareness, this notification and notification back to the fire department that the owner has been working with us happened at about 6:15 this evening.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing we started the meeting late.
Correct.
I was emailing while we were waiting, so yes, it was great.
Okay, so
Before we open,
the staff only has one condition on it.
Yep, and the recommendation says, all conditions of conditional use permit 0119 with the addition of the following conditions.
Okay, so the conditions you're talking about, 4 and 5, are contained in 19.
Correct, correct.
Okay.
the previous conditional use permit.
I'm understanding what I'm proposing.
Sorry.
Anything else to add before I open a public hearing? All right, then I'll open this public hearing by hereby stating a notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held before the Village of Germantown Plan Commission at the Germantown Village Hall located on Mequon Road in Germantown and virtually through the WebEx platform on the following date of Monday, May 11th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. or later. The purpose of said hearing is to hear any and all parties, their attorneys or agents for or against the application filed by the following applicant for an amendment to a conditional use permit number 01-2019 for the operation of a dog training operation from the property described below pursuant to section 17.33 subsection 3 subparagraph H of the Village Zoning Code. The applicant is D. Lynn Luckow, Redline Canine Training Center and Behavioral Consultation LLC, agent for Ozaki Development Corporation, which is the property owner. And the property is located at West 188 North 11786 Maple Road in Suites 1, 2, 3, and 4. Is there anyone that wishes to come forward to speak for or against the amendment to the conditional use permit? Anyone wishing to come forward to speak for or against? And last time, is there anyone that wishes to come forward to speak for or against the amendment to the conditional use permit? All right, then this public hearing is now closed. Commissioners?
I make a motion to approve the conditional use permit amendment, the operation of a dog training education facility. The one condition of
The motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on that motion to approve?
Is that a question?
You can ask questions, or we also need to make an amendment to part of the conditions. Or is that part of the motion?
What do we need to make the amendment on?
One of the amendments from the previous needs to be changed in regards to the type of use, isn't it?
Condition 5 of the existing conditional use permit 0119 indicates the occupancy should be could be modified to assembly. Chief Delane just indicated that it should be the condition should be modified to say kennel instead of assembly.
I will make an amendment to change item number 5 from CUP number 01-19 to include to be a kennel instead of a business or assembly. Kennel business?
So business to kennel rather than business to assembly.
Correct.
All right, that's our motion to amend. Do I hear a second?
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? No opposed? Back to the motion as amended. Further discussion? Further discussion? All those in favor, please.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Mr. Williams.
So in the initial conditional use permit, there was language about whether if the village received any complaints about noise, dogs barking, etc., there had to be some sound barrier put up. I'm just curious, with the extended hour going to 24 hours, 7 days a week, have there been any issues with noise that would raise any flags about increasing this the business hours to basically 24/7 year round?
I don't believe that we've received any complaints about noise.
Okay. All right. Further discussion on the motion as amended? Then all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Luckow, for joining us and staying with us on tonight's agenda. I appreciate it very much. Next item under new business is item E, Skyline Development Corp., agent for JDV Real Estate Holdings LLC, property owner of EnviroSafe Consulting, located at West 130 North 10500 Washington Avenue. This is a site plan review for a 29,746 square foot warehouse and office expansion requiring action. For some further information on this particular topic, are we going back to Director Retzloff or back to Associate Planner Zhang?
Jeff Retzloff here. I'll take the next item. Skyline Development Corp., agent for JDV Real Estate Holdings and EnviroSafe Resource Recovery, is seeking approval of site development and building plans for a 29,746 square foot expansion to their property on Washington Drive in the business park. The site is zoned M1 Limited Industrial and is surrounded by M1 Limited Industrial to the north, the west, and the south. To the east, zoning is agricultural outside of the business park. EnviroSafe Resource Recovery, a little background. An environmental safety, resource management, and recovery operation. Services include the transportation, collection, bulk processing, repackaging, and recycling of flammable, combustible, hazardous, and non-hazardous liquids, solvents, and solid wastes. A conditional use permit was originally issued back in 2011 when the property was 3 acres in size, and allowed for the construction of a 15,000 square foot facility with up to four 22-foot high storage tanks. In 2015, the CUP was amended with CUP number 6-15 to include the expanded site area and including processing of solid waste. CSM was approved to add the acreage, so the site is currently a total of 5.6 acres as shown on the screen. The proposed expansion includes, again, 29,746 total square feet, 28,103 square feet for warehouse and storage area, and 1,643 square feet for office, a lunchroom, and lab addition. There's 4 additional loading docks on the north elevation of the addition that are proposed. There will be 1 new driveway added to the site to the south, and 1 relocated driveway. The existing north driveway will be relocated further to the north as shown on the proposed site plans. The proposed site plan is shown here. North is to the left, south is to the right. Washington Drive is along the bottom. The darker color is the additional asphalt that's being added, including the south driveway and the relocated north driveway. The lighter tan color in the middle includes the existing 15,000 square feet facility along with the proposed 29,000 square foot addition. Pre-finished CMU exterior walls to match and be compatible with the existing masonry construction and color scheme is proposed. A flat roof with a parapet wall would be installed to screen the 1 roof-mounted mechanical over the office area. Additional street trees are proposed as part of the landscaping plan, with some berming and additional landscaping north of the new north driveway to further buffer, if you will, the view of the north side dock area and driveway. And there's some minimal additional lighting, building mounted and dock area lighting on the north and east elevations. Elevations are shown here, the west elevation on the top. The north side, I've broken it into two parts, the north area of the west elevation and the south to the right. Small office addition on the south elevation, and on the bottom of the north elevation shows the proposed loading dock area. Here's a graphic showing the proposed floor plan. As you can see to the left, the lion's share of the addition is all warehouse and storage area. The warehouse expansion does necessitate a reevaluation of the approved closure plan and the $15,000 financial surety that's been provided over all these years to cover the closure plan. The proposed south driveway, as I pointed out in the staff report, does encroach into a 25-foot wetland setback area. However, as discussed in detail, the wetland delineation that was done may have inadvertently shown the wetland as a regulated wetland when in fact it may be a artificial wetland. Now, according to the latest DNR rules, it would seem that the wetland on the west side of the existing retention pond on the north side of this graphic that generates the 25-foot wetland setback area within which the south driveway encroaches may in fact be an artificial wetland that was created when the retention pond itself was created by the village back when the business park was first developed. So there's some additional work to be done with regard to determining the actual type of wetland. If it is deemed to be an artificial wetland, which quite frankly I think that it is, the requirement for a CUP for encroaching into the setback is a moot point because that setback would no longer exist. Additional staff comments, the village forester is recommending some modifications to the species of street trees that are proposed to enhance the diversity on the site. And the Public Works Department village engineer has identified some technical corrections in an April 9th memo, as well as a village surveyor identified some items in an April 3rd memo, all of which will need to be addressed prior to issuance of a building permit. There is an issue with regard to the sampling manhole that's being investigated now, and that may need to be upgraded to current standards. The staff recommendation is to approve the site development and building plans for the 29,746 square foot expansion to the EnviroSafe facility located on Washington Drive, subject to 11 conditions that we can discuss that are in the staff report. Thank you.
Commissioners?
I did notice that Mr. Villion is with us tonight. If anybody has any questions, Mr. Villion can answer those as well. So thank you, Mr. Villion, for joining us.
Yeah, you bet. I will go ahead and make a motion to approve the site development and building plans for a 29,746 square foot expansion of the existing EnviroSafe facility with the 11 conditions as presented.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on that motion to approve?
Question?
Is it Mr. Williams?
Yes. Jeff, do you know what the conditions that $50,000 letter of credit are? What has to happen in order for the village to be able to draw on that?
The letter of credit was required as part of the closure plan that in the event that the current owner in dire circumstances goes out of business and is unable to clean up the facility and remove all of the waste material that may be kept inside. The village then has the ability to go after the funds to complete that cleanup.
Okay, and do you know, are we listed as an additional insured on their pollution control policy?
I believe that we are, but I would have to double check. Maybe Mr. Villione knows that off the top of his head.
Okay.
I know that we have pollution control liability insurance. If you guys would like to be listed as an additional insured, don't pursue that today.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Further discussion? Any further discussion? The only thing I would add is that Mr. Filio has great client in this business park. He's ran an exemplary service for what he does. There were a lot of questions when he first came in, and he's only proven that he does run a top-notch service, and we have not had any issues with any of his of the way that he performs the service in any way since he's been within our business park. I congratulate him on the success of his business and the need to expand. Thank you. It's a kind of a promise made, promise held, so I appreciate that, Mr. Villione, and congratulations on your expansion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Further discussion?
Mr. President, if I could make a comment?
Yes, Mr. Delane.
I would like to concur what you said. When you first came into the village, there was some issues that we had from the fire department, but since that point in time, his business has been run excellent, and he has given us everything we needed to do our job and make him successful in the process going forward. He's been a great business.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Discussion? No further discussion? All those in favor then, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? None opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Thank you for sticking with us.
Thank you again. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Next item under new business item F is Josh Brown, agent for Blifford Germantown Holdings LLC, which is a property owner located at North 116 West 16474 on Main Street. The site plan review for exterior facade enhancement and remodeling of a 3,800 square foot for office, retail, floor space, and bathrooms in an existing warehouse with additional parking. Give some more background information on this, I'll turn it over to the Associate Planner, Emily Zahn. Emily.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Josh Brown, agent for Blifford Germantown Holdings, is seeking approval for site development and building plans to enclose approximately 3,800 square feet of existing storage area in the front of the building for additional retail space, and also is proposing the addition of an entrance tower and a front porch area. Additional customer parking spaces will also be marked in front of them. So this is the Blifford Lumber Hardware site. It's located on the north side of Main Street in the B3 General Business Zoning District. There are residential and agricultural open space land uses to the north. To the south, there's multifamily residential and single-family residential. To the east, there's multifamily residential, and then to the west is Hofstrasse Park and another industrial property. This is the site of Nye's Hardware Store, the former site. Blifford did take ownership of the property in 2019. The proposal to enclose the front area of the existing building, which is currently covered storage, is for additional retail space. They'd also be adding offices and new bathrooms in this area. Again, 12 additional customer parking spaces are also proposed to be marked in front of the building, including 2 ADA compliant spaces. So on the top of this slide, you have the existing south elevation, which shows an open storage area. On the bottom, you can see highlighted in red, this area would be enclosed with cedar shingled siding. In green, this would be the addition of a front porch area. And then highlighted in blue is the entry tower proposed. These are existing and proposed elevations. You can see they really are just enclosing what's already covered and then adding that tower in the front. These are some renderings. The enclosure would include cedar shingle siding, exposed cedar accents, and timbers, and royal blue roof and trim. This scheme is fairly consistent with the other properties that Blifford owns, and I will open it up for Josh Brown to talk about any of these images in just a minute if you would like to. Staff comments did include there's discussion between the fire chief and the utility superintendents about possibly requiring the installation of a fire hydrant to the site. However, then there were concerns related to flushing the hydrants and where the water would flow. So the fire chief is now recommending either the widening of the existing access drive, which is highlighted in red, or connecting the residential drive with a commercial property, and that's highlighted in yellow there. Blifford does also own the residential property shown in this aerial image. So it's possible that they could add an additional driveway north to the commercial site. Planning staff comments, no additional impervious surface is being added to the site. The application does not include any landscaping proposed. Staff does recommend requiring combination of deciduous and evergreen trees to be installed along the fence line shared by the abutting residential lot, again also owned by Blifford. With that being said, we'll have to take into consideration which direction the company does choose to go, whether it's the widening of the existing drive or the extension of the driveway. We'll have to take that into consideration when looking at the landscaping, so we can be flexible there. Inspection services does require state-approved plans and a $20,000 occupancy bond. So village staff does recommend approval of the site and development building plans for the proposed 3,800 square foot enclosure, entry tower and porch area to the existing facility located at N116 W16474 Main Street, subject to 6 conditions, and we can talk through those if you have any questions.
All right. Commissioners.
I'll make a motion to approve the site development and building plans for a 3,800 square foot enclosure with these 6 conditions as presented.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to approve?
Question I have is, which access alternative do we want to go with? Widening of the drive or connecting the residential driveway through?
Well, from Blifford's perspective, I think we'd widen the drive in the event that the residential property was ever sold off, and to not inconvenience any tenants in the meantime.
Okay.
That is okay with the commission?
I think it's a good idea.
Yes. Okay. And then you have no problem with the landscaping that we're asking for?
Well, I guess I would add, I suppose we would have to put it, if possible, on the residential property. We are improving the facade, going from an open storage to something that we're hoping to attract people to. So it's not ideal, but it's certainly not a deal breaker for us.
Okay.
Okay, appreciate that.
I have no further comments.
Further discussion?
Mr. President, if I could address the changes that the fire department had required.
Sure, Chief, go ahead.
Initially, the fire department had required a fire hydrant located in the, I guess it'd be where the fence comes out by the residential property there to help suppress any fires that may break out in the lumberyard. But there was concern about flooding in the adjacent properties. I guess there's been many concerns already about water running off the property into those areas. The nearest fire hydrant would be on the east entrance to the driveway. The fire department was concerned that laying any hoses in through that drive to supply any of our fire apparatus and being a narrow opening into that gated area would prevent any further apparatus from getting in and protecting that property. With them widening the driveway and widening the gate, that would negate the need for a fire hydrant in that area and probably saving them a considerable amount of money and allowing us to get adequate apparatus into that drive.
Good. It's a good solution. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Further discussion on the motion to approve? No further discussion? I appreciate the additional expense of redoing that building. You're right, it's been open for a long time, for as long as I can remember driving past it. And I think it'll help draw attention to it with the changes that you're proposing. Not only will it enhance it and make it look more inviting, but overall it's improving that whole area. So thank you for Blifford for putting that expense into that space. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Any additional discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? With none opposed, then motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Brown, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, everyone.
Next item under new business is item G, Zilber Property Group, agent for ZPG Development Corporation, LLC, which is a property owner located at West 210 North 13150, Gateway Crossing, site plan review for 145,600 square foot multi-tenant industrial building. To give us some more information and background on this, I'll turn the meeting back over to Director Retzlaff.
And I will turn it over to Emily Zant.
I will take this one.
Associate Planner Zant.
Yeah, thank you. So Zilber Property Group, who we've worked with quite a bit in the Gateway Crossing Park, is requesting approval of a site development and building plan for the fourth phase of development within the Germantown Corporate Park, the Gateway Corporate Park, which is located north of Holy Hill at the Gateway Crossing intersection. There we go. Here's a location map. As you can see, US 4145 on the west side of the area. This is the Gateway Corporate Park, highlighted in yellow, and then the site that we're looking at. Okay. That's lot 5 of CSM, the CSM that was approved in 2019. The site zoning is M1 limited industrial. To the north will be where the new water towers proposed to go, or going to be constructed. To the south is industrial. To the south is the Briggs and Stratton building. On the east side, there is the an RS1 residential property. And to the west is also zoned M1 Limited Industrial. Again, this is just a look at the location. This is Lot 5 of this TSM that was approved in 2019. The proposed site will take access off of the extension to Gateway Crossing, which is expected to take place this year. The extension will go north from the existing Gateway Crossing north to West Rockfield Road. So the property will take access off of that extended Gateway Crossing. So as detailed in the plans, the development of the 1,406,000 square foot building known as Zilber Industrial 4 will have the following characteristics. There'll be 2 access drives on the Gateway Crossing, 1 main access driveway for the employees, which is on the north side of the property, and then another access for trucks on the south side of the property and south of the proposed building. On-site sanitary sewer and water facilities with connections to the public utilities are being extended to the site and installed in the Gateway Crossing public right-of-way. There'll be on-site storm sewer, drain tile ditches, and swales with connections to the regional storm water ponds that have already been constructed. There are 102 employee visitor stalls on the north side of the property, and then 41 truck trailer stalls on the very south side of the property with 28 elevated dock bays adjacent to the building. These are a couple of renderings of the proposed Zilber 4 building. 14-foot wide and 32-foot high painted and insulated precast concrete wall panels with multiple reveals, painted white to gray and warm accent colors, and stepped elevation to create shadow lines and reduce scale. There's aluminum storefront window systems with clerestory windows. The south elevation of the building is shown at the top of your screen. You can see the 35 elevated loading dock bays. The applicant has added an additional detail element to the west facade per staff's comments to provide additional detail on the facade that will face the Gateway Crossing. This is the proposed landscape plan. There are perimeter plantings proposed on all 4 sides of the property, building foundation, landscaping along the west and north sides of the building, and street trees along Gateway Crossing. The plantings do consist of a variety of deciduous trees and shade trees, ornamental trees, evergreen trees, deciduous and evergreen shrubs, and perennial plantings and ornamental grasses. There is outdoor lighting proposed for this site, which will be on building-mounted fixtures at a height of 25 feet, pole-mounted fixtures on a 23-foot pole with a 2-foot base with a maximum height of 25 feet, along the east and the south sides of the truck parking area, and then ground-mounted directional spotlighting for the entrance and office areas near the northwest and northeast corners of the building. The detailed site development and building plans for Zilber 4 are consistent with the overall concept plan approved for the Gateway Corporate Park. As this building is being constructed as a spec building, the roof mechanicals are unknown at this point. As was done with Zilber 2 and 3, the developer should be required to provide a plan or set of specifications for what type, including design materials, color, etc., a screening would be installed in the event that screening is required, and submit the specifications to the village planner for review and approval. Public Works did work through one round of reviews with the applicant. The applicant has submitted revised plans to the Public Works Department. However, there has not been sufficient time to review the revised plans. So staff is recommending conditional approval subject to any corrections required by the Public Works Department or other village departments. Staff believes that any modifications will be minor and will not change the general character of the proposed development. Of course, in reviewing the revised responses, additional issues may arise, and the developer is also responsible for addressing any additional or unresolved items or issues identified by staff. The fire and police department have sort of some standards related to the distance between fire hydrants, sprinkler and alarm systems, knock boxes, and the labeling of exterior doors. Inspection Services has indicated that the submission of state-approved plans be required prior to issuing a building permit, along with the $20,000 occupancy fund. So staff does recommend approval of the site development and building plan for Zilbert 4, the 146,000 square foot industrial building in the Gateway Corporate Park, subject to 7 conditions. And those are listed here, and we can go through those if you would like.
Commissioner.
Emily, you said you wanted a conditional approval? Emily?
I'm sorry?
You said you wanted a conditional approval tonight?
Approval with conditions.
Okay, you're gonna have to help me with those conditions, but I'll make a motion to approve the site development and building plans for Zilbert 4 as presented with the 7 conditions. Start there.
Motion made, do we have a second?
David Ball.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to approve?
Yes, I'd like to make an amendment to add an 8th condition. And Emily, what should that condition be?
I think we've included in the staff report all of the conditions that staff is proposing.
Okay, so nothing else then. This is all you need.
This is what, staff is proposing.
Right? And I'll withdraw my amendment.
Okay. Further discussion on the motion to approve? No further discussion? If there's no further discussion, then all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None opposed? Motion carries. Is this the last building, or is there others proposed? This should be...
There is additional land available.
From the...
I believe this is Frank from Zilbert. I can respond to that.
Sure.
So this is not the last building. We do have up to 3 more buildings that we could put on the west side of Gateway Crossing.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was driving out there the other day, a couple days, I think last weekend I was driving out there and taking a look, and everything looks great. Even, with all the infrastructure that's been put in, it's all still graded really nicely, and saw that this was being prepared for the next one, so I just kind of had a question of how many more there are, so that everybody on the board knows what to expect yet. So thank you for all that.
You're welcome.
Further discussion on the motion to approve? Further discussion? Did we vote on it already? Yes, we did. Yes. All right, you can tell it's getting to 10. Thank you, Zilbert Group, for staying with us and sticking it through with us to the bitter end here, so appreciate it very much. Next item under new business is item H, Power Sign and Lighting Company, agent for WNT Development, property owner located at North 112, West 16286, Mequon Road, sign review for Germantown Dental Care. Ms. Net, is this yours?
This is. Okay, so Bauer Signs and Lighting is requesting approval for wall signage for German Dental Care, which is located on Mequon Road. This property is located within the B2 Germantown Marketplace PDD, to the east of Associated Bank, south of Pick and Save. The proposed wall signage includes internally illuminated letter set with LED made with acrylic and aluminum. The sign would be placed on both the west facade and the south facade of the building. Village code does limit wall signage to the building frontage, which is the south on Mequon Road, unless they deem it appropriate. In this case, the Plan Commission will have to approve the proposed wall signage on the west facade of the building. Staff does support approval of this signage, as it will be visible to eastbound traffic on Mequon Road. So staff is recommending approval with one condition for electrical permit prior to the installation of any electrical components.
Commissioners?
I'll make a motion to approve the south wall sign with the one condition.
You doing them one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion made, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to approve the southern wall facade sign? No discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Further motions?
Make a second motion to approve the west elevation signage.
Motion, we have a second. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to approve the southern facade wall signage?
What kind of precedent are we setting, or do we have something like this similar that we've allowed two signs on one building?
Sure. We recently approved the North Shore Bank signage, which had an additional signage on the west facade as well.
This is a fairly common thing, David. A number of businesses along County Line Road have signage on the south or west, and in some cases on three sides. The Auto Parts Place west of Appleton Avenue comes to mind, but it's fairly typical.
Okay.
No further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? None opposed? Motion carries. Next item under new business is item I, Sign and Lighting Company, agent for Anderson Brother Construction, property owner located at West 188 North 10707 Maple Road, sign review for American Parts Equipment Supply. Sam.
Okay. Yes, American Parts Equipment Supply is proposing a wall sign for the business. This is an overview of the subject property. Lannon Road runs northeast, southwest here, and I-41 runs perpendicular. Maple Road is on the east side of the property. The site is zoned B1 neighborhood business. This is the proposed wall sign. It's approximately 73 square feet, internally illuminated channel letters made with red and blue acrylic faces, and aluminum returns and back. The sign will be placed on the front elevation of the building directly above the entrance. The staff does recommend approval for this wall sign. with the condition that electrical permits be obtained prior to the installation of electrical components.
Commissioners?
I'll make a motion to approve the sign with the one condition.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to approve the sign as proposed?
I'm questioning whether the bottom half of the sign, the American Parts Equipment Supply, is even visible. Maybe it's my computer screen, or in the renderings, I can't even read that part of the signage. Are the letters too small? Or is a 7-inch tall letter? You're not going to read it on the interstate.
That's a good question. I believe they're larger than, hang on just a second, I can see if I can find the dimensions.
And it says it's 7.7 inches tall.
Okay.
But
Would you propose that section to be larger?
well, I'm not sure how this qualifies or meets our requirements, but what is most important? BBQ grills or American Parts and Equipment Supply? If you're trying to get to be read from the interstate, this much from the signage is read.
Well, keep in mind, David, keep in mind that the village signage regulations provide for a certain number of square footage of sign area for every 1 linear foot of building frontage facing a road. And under our sign regulations, there's no specific or special provision for a building that may face the interstate. There's no special provision to provide for larger sign area for a building that may be facing the interstate and the business owner wanting to utilize their relative location as an advantage and have larger signage. So they're limited by the quote-unquote standard amount of signage provision for a given business, with the notion, quite frankly, that their sign should be visible from Maple Commerce Circle, which is the road that runs, that provides access to the building and to the old Gander Mountain facility and those other businesses out there.
I'm all right with that, and I just...
I don't disagree with you. I think the business owner should decide what is more important. If they're up against the maximum amount of sign area, then they need to decide which is more important, the business name or the type of product.
I would drop the American Parts Equipment Supply, drop that off entirely, and large barbecue grills. But it's up to them as to what they want to put on there. I think it's not functional, easily read road, but if that's what they want, I'm fine with it.
Is Bauer Sign still online with us?
It was earlier.
I think we had a couple different representatives from Bauer Signs for these projects, and I think one was here for the dental office, but no one is here for this right now.
Okay. Further discussion? No further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Aye.
Nay.
Opposed?
Nay, is it here?
Okay, Mr. Williams?
Yep.
One opposed. All right, that takes care of all items listed on tonight's agenda under new business. Anyone have any announcements they'd like to make?
No.
If there are no,
Going to bed.
let's hope not. If there are no announcements, then we can be adjourned. Thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you all for watching, and have a good night. Good night. We're adjourned.